Anyway, so Seth, thank you much for joining us here on Nomads 50 Plus. My name is Chris Kalaboukis, and it's my current mission to interview 1,000 digital nomads and or midlife recalibrators and or people who are super, super interesting. And to that end, we have a very special guest today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your story?
Hi, well, I'm Pam Lobb and I live in Macclesfield, Cheshire. And I'm author of Beyond Hot and Crazy, a radical guide to living well with menopause. And I've just, it's crazy.
What a great name. I love that.
We're all beyond hot and crazy. Even now, 20 years later, I'm still hot and crazy. And then I've just got my first novel out, Daughter of the Solstice, which
Wow,
is
fantastic.
which
Congratulations.
is set in ancient Egypt and follows healing and all sorts of things. And it was supposed to be one book, and it's turned into at least three.
Oh, nice. Nice. I know that's exactly how it happens to me. I just finished off. So I had an idea for a time travel novel when I was in high school, and I came up with
Yeah,
a concept and everything. And I never touched it until a couple years ago. And I said, I'm going to pull this thing out and try rewriting it again. And I finally just finished it a couple weeks ago, and I'm just waiting for the cover art to be made.
excellent,
And
excellent.
of course, the moment I finished it, I said, okay, now I got to write book two and book three and book four and book five.
Yeah, I was saying to somebody today that the problem is the writing is actually the easy part. I mean, I've been tearing my hair out today with KDP and oh, sorry, somebody's car alarm's just going off.
No worries. This is life, right?
um, and so yeah, it's the marketing and all that sort of stuff.
That's the hard part. It's hard, like, as a writer, it's
Yeah,
it's easy, and I think actually it's the same for almost all content creation. I think for those of us who are creative, we can put the stuff out and get it out there, but then marketing it and promoting it and getting other people to actually come see it is I think the hardest part. It's 80% marketing, 20% creation.
yeah, and it's not well, for me anyway. It's not the most enjoyable part.
Yeah.
Um, there's aspects of it I quite like, but wrestling with KDP is not one of them.
It's not fun. I think they made it that way on purpose so they could, like, have an entire cadre of KDP consultants who would do the work for you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, crazy things like I was trying to get the hardcover up, and it all looked perfect. So I get to the very last page, and I've got a link, actually, funnily enough, to Substack on it, but it's a live link. It didn't like it.
well, that'd be hilarious. Leaving a live link in your hardcover book. Your tablet.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just presumed, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
It's just text, and but no, it's got this great mark over it.
I
What? You know,
love it.
round six.
So let's backtrack a bit. How did you get to where you are today? Tell us a little bit about your history.
Oh gosh, where did I get to out of today? A very, very convoluted journey.
Let's hear it.
Actually convoluted. Um, I started off training as a nurse. I did orthopedics first, then my general training, then occupational health. And then my husband started his own company, so I completely jumped ship after I got made redundant after we moved north and ended up working for him. So I was working in computer-aided design as a support admin person for 6 years while I had my two kids.
Nice.
And
Good work from home job. That worked
I
great,
mean,
right?
it was a mixture office, mixture home. What was great was our company, and I could actually, as long as the work got done, it didn't really matter when I did it.
Oh,
Um,
ultimate. I love that.
it was great. So I'd go out and play golf, and
It's like, hold on a second. I'm in the middle of the day. I'm just going to go play a few rounds, and then I'm going to come back.
And then when I had my second child, the job had got too much. It was full time, so I just couldn't handle it anymore. So I left doing that, and I did a variety of things as the children were young. Mostly a mum, but making curtains. What else did I did? All sorts of weird and wonderful things. Um,
That's the
then
problem with kids, right? They keep you from your
yeah,
dreams.
and during that time, I was really ill myself. I had severe endometriosis.
Oh no.
Um,
Sorry to hear that.
so a huge amount of pain every month. Well, actually, it turned into all the month. wasn't just part of it. It was
Ugh.
constant, severe pain. So for the women amongst us, it was like being in labour all the time, but you didn't get the breathing space that you
Oh,
do in
jeez.
contractions. It was absolutely
That's
horrendous.
terrible.
To drive to school. Painkillers just sent me loopy.
Mm,
Just couldn't function on them, and they did nothing for the pain, so gave up on those. So that really started me into the world of alternative health, because up until that moment, I've been very much Western hospital medicine driven.
mhm.
And
As we
I mean, to
usually
begin with,
start
I didn't
off.
know it was endometriosis. I was just in constant pain. And a
What,
friend said,
your doctors couldn't, diagnose it?
no, no,
Wow.
you're a woman. What do you expect? Put up with it. I mean, all sorts of
Oh,
horrendous things.
please.
It's
That's
IBS. Actually,
ridiculous.
it was a female doctor that said that. It was just like, what? Um, but yeah, the average time for diagnosis for endometriosis is a bit shorter today, but it's quite often about 10, 11 years.
You're kidding. That's insane.
No,
That's
it's
absolutely
crazy.
nuts.
So I got a friend recommended a reflexologist. I was like, I don't like my feet being tickled. Anyway, desperation calls, I'd seen her probably 2 or 3 times, and she said, "I think you've got endometriosis." And I went, "Endo what?" Never heard of it. Went to my doctor. I don't think he'd actually heard of it either, to be truthful. He
You'd
was
never
like,
heard of it? Oh my god.
"Well, I
What
don't
year
know."
was
He
this?
he really didn't know much about it, if anything. So he just referred me on to a gynecologist, and then, after that, the ball started rolling, and
So the gynecologist was properly, identified it then?
yeah, I ended up with a the only way to you can now do it with ultrasound, but back then it was through laparoscopy, so I had to have surgery and stuff
Mm,
for that, and ended up with a hysterectomy at 41.
wow.
So, um, hence beyond hot and crazy because, number 1, all the drugs they put me on threw me into menopause. So so
Jeez.
and then, of course, having a hysterectomy definitely throws you into menopause.
Well, yeah, 'cause there's nothing
So
left.
no, so I became an expert at finding alternative ways of dealing with it because I really didn't want to
Mm,
go down the medical route wasn't working. I mean, I realized at that point it just plain was not working. I mean, having a hysterectomy was definitely the right thing to do for me back then. What I now, I think I could have avoided it, but,
mm.
you know, it was definitely the right thing for my health back then, so
How long ago was that?
all
I
good.
mean,
That was 2001.
so that's not that long ago, really, when you think about it. It's amazing how much
So
the knowledge has changed. And is it all come from the alternative medicine side? Is like the more
A
identification of it?
mixture. I think partly it's become more widely known, so women are much more open about it and talking about it. Um, the medical profession is definitely more aware than they were,
Mm,
um, but it's still not the best. It's like most chronic conditions. You sort of fall semi into a black hole.
yeah,
Um,
'cause they don't
the
really
the
know what to
what
do with you. They
no,
don't know what works. Yeah.
Western medicine is fantastic in an emergency. You can't fault it. But when it comes to chronic conditions, it leaves an awful lot to be desired, and if
Right.
anything, that's getting worse rather than better in a lot of cases. So,
Mm.
um, so that set me off on a complete new trajectory of looking at health from a completely different aspect. Um,
And you had a nursing background, so that was good.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um, the end of it was talking to my consultant, my gynecologist, just after my hysterectomy. Because I got this great huge book, I've read it from cover to cover. I was becoming an expert on endometriosis, and it
Something
actually
you
really
never thought you'd ever be an expert in prior to
no,
that, right?
and I mean, I was lucky; I was able to go privately. So, we would sit at like 11 o'clock at night having conversations while I was in hospital. He was a crazy guy as well, and he said afterwards, he said, "I think you should become a psychologist.
Mm.
We really need you." So that sent me down that route. I mean, I left school at 16, so I thought at first I couldn't go to university. But in the UK, we've got something called the Open University, and you can just start doing courses. So that's what
Really?
I did. So, yes, I've now got a degree in psychology.
Fantastic.
So,
That's great.
which is great. Um, but halfway through doing my psychology degree, so it was basically over 6 years because it's part time. I mean, you can do it as fast as you like, but with children and things, it's just not.
Sure.
You know, 6 years is fairly realistic. My husband got diagnosed with leukemia,
Oh, no.
so that sent us down a complete new rabbit hole
Yeah.
of. I mean, he was in. We've got a very excellent specialist cancer hospital in Manchester, so he would spend literally a month at a time in there, and then home for 3 weeks and round again we'd go.
Jeez.
So unfortunately, he didn't make it. So he died in January 2005.
Oh,
So,
no.
um, so that set my life on another trajectory.
But then when did you publish your book?
Uh, Beyond Hunt Crazy came out in 2015.
So it took you 10 years after that to put it all together? Like
Yeah,
what what was
I'm dyslexic, so I didn't think I'd ever become a writer. I've always
Hmm.
wanted to write, but so it's partly through my psychology degree, and then through the work I ended up doing work with Christie's, the hospital in Manchester, doing something called the Expert Patient Program and working with their counsellors and stuff. I thought, well, I might as well do a counselling diploma. So I'm crazy. I was doing a counselling diploma and my psychology degree back to back.
Well, why not, right? You got
Why
lots of
not?
time.
Why not? Plus adding in a network marketing company, and what else did I do
Wait
with
a
that?
minute, you did that as well?
I did crazy things. I mean, it was the grief. So I'm going to
You just
blame it
wanted
on
to
the grief.
fill your time
I just wanted to fill the time,
completely. Yeah.
and never had a moment. And actually, it was doing my counselling degree. It was doing an extra module in bereavement, as you do.
Mm.
And the tutor there says, "I think you need to take a step back." Yes, I was doing the expert patient program at Christie's. Yeah, I was doing so much stuff. So I cut things right back and basically just focused on my counselling and psychology degree at that point. Everything else went by the wayside.
Mm.
I learned some sense, but very close to burnout, very, very close to complete burnout.
Well, I
And
mean, you really needed something to take you away from what you were doing or what
yeah,
you were feeling, right? So it's kind of like I'm going to load up on everything else so that there's no room left in my head for the grief
yeah,
that's
exactly.
there. Yeah.
Totally the wrong thing to do.
Yeah. And the thing is that you knew it was the wrong thing to do because you
Well,
learned that it was the wrong
I
thing to
don't
do.
know back then that I I did or I didn't. I was sort of just in duck paddling in the water
Yeah.
mode. Um, yeah, I'm not sure that I actually had the sense actually. Or put it this
Well,
way, I didn't take time to breathe. You know, I mean,
it's probably one of those situations where, you were being taught this, but you were thinking, well, that doesn't apply to me. That applies to other people. It
yeah,
doesn't really apply to me, even though it does apply to you. And I mean, I think
yeah,
that happens a lot when you're in these learning situations is that, you're reading something and you're thinking, yeah, that's really good advice for somebody else, but it doesn't really apply to my situation. And then you
yeah. I mean,
realize
it's
it
like,
does.
as part of my diploma in counselling, I had to go for counselling. It's like, I don't need counselling. I'm okay.
Exactly. Look at these 100 things I'm doing. I'm just
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah. That's I'm coping, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I mean, hindsight's also a wonderful thing. I mean, I must have driven that poor counsellor nuts. I mean, because as counsellors, you have to go for supervision, and I look back now and go, I wonder what she took to supervision. But actually, what turned
Fantastic.
out, she wasn't the right counsellor for me.
Mm.
So I did like 6 or 7 sessions with her, and then I switched to a different type of counselling, transactional analysis counselling, and that worked for me.
Mm.
And that completely turned things around, and until the last 2 or 3 years, I've always had a counsellor or a coach
Mm.
for me. Um,
Is that when you
yeah,
started divesting yourself of other things
yeah.
you
I
were doing?
started,
Yeah.
yeah, recognizing myself, what I needed. So I did my counselling diploma. Then I did a hypnotherapy diploma. And then I was working back in the NHS, which I always said I'd never go back to, but there you go, as one of their staff counsellors. And it was always amusing because I could, having the nurses sitting opposite me, and I used to go, I used to do that. This was me. I used to do that.
Did you feel better on this side of the table or on that side of the
Yeah,
table?
no, it's like, okay, and it really helped me see how much I'd actually grown and how much I'd actually changed for the
Mm.
better. Because it was literally like having a mirror of the old me in
Mm.
front of me. You know?
And you're thinking, "I'll never go back to that."
I'll never go back to that. And then 2000, I decided that I didn't like counselling from the fact it takes you backwards all the time and it's always digging up things. And for me, it never felt right that you're digging things up for the sake of digging things up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
I've
much
always
more in
wondered
the
I've
belief.
always wondered about that. I mean, what
Yeah,
is the point of that?
it can cause more trauma. Things will not. Well, I've really learned. Yeah, I've done some work in trauma since. Things will naturally come up when your body can handle it.
Mm.
You know, but until that point, everything's, it's just hanging on for grim death, basically. So the counselling is so I moved into towards coaching and came across something called heart intelligence coaching, and that was like it blew me open
Nice.
completely. Um, you worked in groups, and um, the the first retreat I went to, we'd all met online. Everybody was greeting you, beautiful hugs. I mean, absolutely amazing hugs, and I was completely overwhelmed by love.
Nice.
It's just, how can all these people I don't know just be so amazing? So I ended up, you take space with a circle, and I eventually managed to get to take space, and it was about this overwhelm of people caring for me. So I've never had anything to that
Mm.
extent, and I have grieved, but only more of a superficial level. I hadn't gone into the really deep, the deep loss.
Right.
Um, and the exercise we did, because the only way I could describe it is a heart orgasm. So,
Seriously?
seriously, I went into the pub like 2 days after I got back, and my friends went, "What happened to you? You look amazing." At the top of my voice, I went, "Heart orgasm." And one of them was going, but it was the only way
You
to
must have loved
describe
it
it.
in there.
Well, even now when I talk about it, I can feel my heart go expand. It was just so transformative, and
Was it the physical touch or was it just
it
the
was a
like, what was it?
combination. I mean, the actual exercise that was doing it, I was surrounded by a group of guys, and I got it was a Texan in front of me with a very, very deep voice, and a guy behind me that was much softer, and but everybody was humming, and it was the vibration that
Mm.
just it just loosened everything. I mean, it was just, I sobbed and I sobbed and I sobbed, and then I laughed and I laughed and I laughed to the point they were holding me up because I was laughing so much.
Well, can you imagine how much was in there that needed to be released? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it was
incredible.
incredible, incredible. I mean, I don't know how long it was, probably 15, 20 minutes, no idea. Um, but, I've done a lot of work with them since, and I'm not the person you see today. It's not the person that started that in
Mm.
2011, 12. Um, so done a lot with heart intelligence. I've done art of feminine presence that's just added to that. Rachel Jane Gruber, she's just amazing, and so it's complete change to how I think about my body and how I react to things. Through her, I got into business, learning about business,
Mhm.
speaking. Um, actually, it was the first Heart IQ summit. We and I had this big summit, and I was working behind the scenes as well. So at the end, we were taking it down, and we were standing on this little, this little stage, like you get on these big events. And I said, I'd love to be a speaker. So somebody gave me a microphone, and it was there like, I'm absolutely petrified.
Hey, everyone starts out the same way.
It took 2 years for me to be confident at speaking in a microphone,
Yeah. Well, it
and
does they
I
did
don't
say
care.
public speaking is like one of the worst fears,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm perfectly happy on stage. I've done a top selling podcast during COVID. Um, no fear at all. No,
Nice. And the only way to get over it is to do it, right? I find that
exactly.
that's the thing that I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, I gotta watch this video or I gotta read this book or whatever." It's like, "No, no, no, you have to get up there on stage and speak." And then the more you speak, the easier it gets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and through doing that, it was very much. I mean, a lot of it was, from the nomad point of view. I was spending a lot of time in the States.
Mm.
Rachel James' courses were in Golden, Colorado. So I was probably spent 4-5 weeks a year in Golden,
Oh,
um,
nice.
and then did
Does
road
your family
trips.
miss you? Did they go like, "Where's mom
No,
going?"
no. I mean, my daughter in those years actually moved. My daughter now lives just south of Detroit. So
Oh, she was living in the States anyway.
yeah, I used to tie in trips with her, and my best friend from who used to live next door moved back to Atlanta. So I did huge road trips in sort of in the States. I've
Nice.
done more states in the States than most US citizens.
Probably.
Um, so they got me through part of that. It was realizing I needed to start a newsletter
Mm,
from a business point of view, and that gave me the confidence to write beyond hot and crazy.
mm.
Um, and
So you wrote that
so,
as a newsletter to start with, or
no, it, bits of it, but most of it just started coming together. Telling my story. You know, we would get up on stage and we'd have to tell part of our story. So that the sort of the beginning part of the book is basically what I've used in speeches and stuff.
mm,
Um, so then I did a book writing course with Rachel Jane and Data Gruber. Data's a member here on Substack, and he they we you had to go along with no preconceived ideas whatsoever for writing a book. We were in Hawaii, which was just amazing.
it's a tough place to write, though. It's a very tough place to write.
Yeah, I mean, I did a week beforehand on Big Island, and then we were writing on Oahu. It was set up.
Nice.
Um, Absolutely incredible. But I sat there the first day, and nothing came through except complete drivel.
Mm.
And I thought,
It always starts like that, though. I mean, come on, be honest.
This isn't going to work. It's just going to be a nice holiday." And then the second day, this
You
voice
gotta get
started.
the stuff off the top, the chaff off the top before you get to the
Yeah.
wheat at the bottom.
Then the second day, that this story started coming through, and it
Mm,
was what it's actually now, but the third book will be the third book in the Guy Remembered series. Um, but then it just sat there for like 7 years, and I came back to it last year. Life got in the way. Parts of it didn't make sense because I'm very visionary. I see images, and this voice was talking to me and showing me things. And I think, I know this is set at the time of the Santorini eruption. I could date it.
mhm,
But what I was seeing didn't make sense in my head to what we've been taught in history.
right,
And I had to go down a rabbit hole in COVID to realize that a lot of what we've been taught in history isn't true anyway.
right.
And it's like, oh, maybe it is true that my visions. I mean, who knows if they're true? I mean, we have absolutely no freaking idea. But
No, no.
um, I could get away from that sticking point, and um,
But you like to be accurate when you're writing this stuff. I mean, even though it is fiction, I'm assuming,
yeah,
right? So even though you're writing fiction, you still wanna be accurate. I mean, say I've got this time travel novel that I've written, and they bounce around between Alexandria, ancient Alexandria, and Ur, and some other cities, and you want to be as accurate as possible because you don't
Yeah,
want
I,
to.
I called Alexandria Alazaria just because it was slightly earlier. But it still had the lighthouse and it still had the Museum. I mean, what's been fantastic is I've learned so much about Egyptology that I hadn't got a clue about writing book
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Um, so I mean that's been a real fun journey. I've never been to Egypt. Have you?
No, no, I haven't.
But,
But the research, I mean, it's like when you try to pick times, and it's funny because a lot of the pivotal things that happen in my book don't actually happen. So I have to say, well, maybe it's a parallel universe where these things actually happened, but they're
yeah.
similar to what you're doing, right? So
Well, there's I've no idea if they happened or they didn't. They feel like they did. I
yeah,
mean, certainly what the story that's book 3 is a second character. It feels past life to me. I mean, when I was writing it, I was sitting there. I was actually sitting next to Data, and he said, "You were completely gone," and I was sobbing, absolutely
really.
sobbing.
See, now that's good work.
There's still parts of the book that make me cry.
Well, that's what happens to me. It's like when I reread to passages, I think to myself, okay, who wrote this? Because I'm like, I can't believe this is that good. And there was an emotional response. There's like, wow. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm like actually tearing up over what these characters are saying to each other, and I'm like, I wrote that. I mean, like, what is going on here? Does it
yeah.
came
I
from
don't know
some other
about you, but I
source?
feel there's a bit of a disconnect.
Yeah.
It's like, did I really write that? And I know it wasn't AI because I wrote it before AI existed.
But I love that. Well, that's what happens though. It's like if you take something that you wrote and you shelve it for a really long time, and then you come back and look at it, and you go, this isn't even me. I can't believe that I wrote this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time, it's like this is like, in fact, it's either way better than you think, or it's way worse than you think.
I am actually surprised that, it's like, actually, I can actually write. People are actually enjoying it.
Mm,
I can say that now. I've got some five-star reviews. Not many. I still need a little lot more, but they're coming. Um,
they're coming. So you wrote the first book on your medical issues, and then
yeah,
what happened after that? So that was in 2015. So that's 10 years
yes.
ago.
So yeah, so that book, I did that through Balboa Press, and then um, through the writer retreat in Hawaii, I actually brought it back completely under my control and republished it.
Hmm.
And I've updated it a couple of times since. So it's still there. It's still bubbling along. I've used bits of it in some of my Substacks. I've actually taken bits from it. There's quite a few of my Substacks that relate to the book to some degree.
Right.
Um,
And then
so
do you do counseling about those issues as
I
well? Or
did. I mean, I haven't done any counselling or coaching since COVID, actually.
mm,
Um, things change. I was actually in India just as COVID was happening, and I literally got back by the skin of my teeth.
wow.
I was actually slightly disappointed. I would have quite liked to have been stuck
You
in
were kind
India.
of you wanted to be stuck in India. I talked to somebody who was stuck in Portugal. She loved it. She's like, "Oh my god, I was so lucky I got stuck there."
Yeah, so it got back by the skin of my teeth, and I set up with a couple of Danish friends, Live the Impossible Show podcast, and that took us down all sorts of rabbit holes.
Nice.
Um, we started interviewing all sorts of people that was very controversial. Is probably the best way to put it. But we
Nice.
had an absolute blast, and we did 72 shows, and we were hitting all the top charts and everything. It was just completely incredible. It was an amazing time. Um, and
How did
we
you
were
get those
looking very
how did
much
you get
into
those guests that
just asking.
mhm,
And it was amazing how what people said yes. And as more people said yes, the braver we got at pushing out. So I mean, it's a really diverse show. There's all sorts from homeschooling to um, book reviews to David Icke, to Sasha Stone. You don't interview those two; they talk at you.
Yeah.
I think Susanna and I can talk, but I think we probably said about 10 words the whole interview.
Well, you didn't need to, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's the
but then
idea.
that also got us banned from Facebook.
Oh, no. Why?
Oh, they're not accepted. So we were got completely and absolutely shadow banned. So I'm still struggling with Facebook to get the algorithms working properly again.
Ugh,
Um, yeah,
yeah,
not
Facebook's a
acceptable.
mess.
Yeah, with some of the dirty dozen doctors. So so yeah, I got very much more into the conspiracy theory stuff, very deep rabbit holes. Um,
Oh, is that during COVID when a lot
yeah,
of COVID-y stuff was like, "Okay, you can't talk about this?"
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We went down all sorts of weird and wonderful
So
places.
the good stuff, the stuff
Really,
people
it was really
need to
good. It was
hear.
really interesting. It's completely turned my whole life around on how I look at the stuff. Um,
Nice.
Spend my life now with just a whole series of question marks in my head. Well, it could be true. That's definitely not true, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, anything is I think anything is possible. It's like, what
Exactly,
exactly is truth? I mean, I have this discussion with a friend of mine all the time. It's like you can never know what is really true because everything we see is through our senses, right? And those can be
exactly.
fooled.
So yeah, so I just stick in question marks now, so you can prove to me 100%, which is doubtful.
Yeah,
I'll stick with question mark.
impossible.
Um, yeah, I'm open to believing anything these days. Well,
Well, that's how I
semi-believing.
start off. I start off by believing that it's possible, no matter what it is, and then maybe something comes along to refute it. But I mean, there's so much that we don't know. There's
Yeah,
no reason
yeah.
why we can't just come at it from that
Are we
perspective.
flat? Are we round? Are we toroid? I haven't a clue.
That's right. We may be.
Who knows?
Are we in the matrix? Right? Anything is possible.
Quite possible.
It does explain deja vu, for
Yeah,
sure.
totally. And I do a lot of déjà vu. I mean, I'm really into past life stuff, and it's part of my training as a
How do you
hypnotherapist.
do that? I mean, how do you troll back into your past lives? Is that some kind
It's
of
really
practice?
easy. It's just relaxing. It's not even hypnotherapy. You just go into a relaxed state. If anybody wants a session, I'm always happy to play. It's easy to play. Um, so you just
Make sure to
relax.
DM Pam if you want a session to get you back
Yeah,
into your
yeah,
past
yeah.
lives.
Feel free. So how I do it, I always, sort of more of a relaxation journey, and I always take people down through a tree roots into a cave that's
Mm,
got a series of doors, and it's up to you to choose which door you go through, and then there's something takes over. There's I don't know what, and you start getting visions or words depending on how or feelings depending on what your type is,
mm.
your learning style particularly. Most people get visual things, um, and we just go on a journey of exploring what it is. And I always sort of jump to the death, and after the death, look at what did that life tell you, and why does it come up? Because there's always
Mm.
something in it to teach you and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. I mean, how do those past lives affect your current self? I mean, does it help mold
I
your
think
personality?
for me, it answers some of the questions of why do I do such and such,
Mm,
or it's, the Corrie, who's the leader in Daughters of Go, which is the book 3 that I'm referring to. She's a healer, and I've had many lives as a healer.
mm.
Um, I've been burnt as a witch. I've been drowned as a witch. Um, and I'm petrified of jumping into water.
Really?
Hate my head underwater. Absolutely hate it. Um, but I know I was dunked in the pond in Avebury in 15 blah.
Wow.
Um, and I've had one of my friends in Heart IQ went, "Yeah, you're right. Actually, I've got a few."
They can tell? They could sense it?
You can tell he picked. He was another one that got these visions and stuff. I mean, who knows if it's true? But but
But you don't
how does
remember
my
anything in your
imagination come up with this stuff? I
you don't
really don't
remember
know.
anything in your current life that affected you that would make you want to be like that anti-water?
No,
So nothing in your current life.
other than my mother's sphere of water. I always thought it was my mother's sphere of water,
Mm,
which to a degree it is. You know, um, but now I know I was dunk to the rich. I can actually get my head underwater. I can actually do it now. I
wow.
don't like it.
Congratulations.
I don't like it, and I still can't. I still really struggle jumping into a swimming pool, or off the side of a boat. But I can do it. So it's if I die, what? So what? I'll just come back again, or not.
Well, just putting your head underwater is not gonna kill you.
Probably not, but it feels like it is.
Let's say, so where do we leave off? So 2015, you published your book, and then 2020 COVID, you went and you did the podcast, and what have
Yeah.
you done since then?
Since then, one of the things we interviewed somebody on our podcast that got a organization that was into freedom and sovereignty and stuff.
Mhm.
And we were looking at sort of forming our own community and stuff at that point, and it made much more sense to join him because he was much more down the line and better resources and stuff than we had. So I ended up
Was this
working for
guy
them.
US based?
Yeah. So I ended up working for them for 3 years, doing for free. Yeah, you get paid eventually. Well,
It's like
eventually,
working at a startup, eventually
yeah,
you're gonna get some
eventually
money
it
out of
hasn't
it.
come yet, but it might one day. Um, so I was helping them set up a university, so I was doing a lot of web-based things. Again, learning a lot because I was doing the research on regenerative farming and all sorts
Oh, yeah,
for.
all that good stuff. I love that I love that sovereign stuff. It's really interesting to get into.
So that's been was fascinating, and then things got a bit rocky there. I was let's call it a personality clash.
Very tactful.
Very tactful with one of the leaders, and so I left literally New Year's Day, 2025.
Wow.
2 hours 2 hours into 2025, I was jobless.
Well, they weren't paying you anyway, so, like,
They
no
weren't paying
no
me
harm,
anyway.
no foul.
Yeah, it was a matter of jump, take myself away, or they were going to push me anyway. So
Yeah, and you knew you weren't getting any severance, so did it matter?
I still might. It's one of those things that it could still come through, but who knows? For what? Just
Yeah,
wait and see.
yeah.
No idea. Um, so I thought, well, I was 64. Do I really want to start up my coaching business again? Because I'm
Just you wanna start something. You got another 40, 50 years ahead of you. You gotta
exactly,
do
yeah.
something.
And I thought, well, actually, I could really do with a year off, as a bit more relaxed. I retire.
Well, if you can take a year off, why not? Absolutely.
So, and that's when I picked up my book again and started writing, um, and I did a summit with Hay House, which helped me see that I needed that it would be much better as a series, and that's hence why so I thought, right, I'll do a prequel, but it actually makes much more sense just to publish book one and publish it in order.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so
Your readers
that's
will thank you.
yeah, or not.
Well, I mean, you're probably not as crazy as me. I actually did a series about 10 years ago where I mapped out 12 books for this series. It was like a young adult novel. And I wrote the first and halfway through the second, and then I kind of ran out of steam because I had so many characters and I couldn't deal with everything that they were doing. And I thought to myself, well, maybe I'll come back to that. And that's why I'm like, that's still shelved, and I might decide to come back.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's the great thing with things like AI. You can put all your characters in,
Yeah.
and it keeps track for you.
Although what it does, like, so my last time travel book, so the book I just finished, I uploaded the entire thing to AI and I said, look for plot holes, look for changes, look for something that, and it actually did a pretty good job of finding things that were like open and loose threads and things like that. And actually ended giving me ideas for book two, so that I didn't even think of. But then it started going off on tangents and rewrote my entire book as a
Yeah,
completely different book.
yeah,
But actually it's not bad. The whole new plot was pretty
yeah.
decent.
I had the same issue that because of my dyslexia, I use it for editing and spelling and grammar and stuff. And
Yeah,
it started. I suddenly realised it was completely adding bits in. You
yeah,
know, what I think somebody told me that they use quiet a lot, and I thought, oh, just run it through how many quiets are in my manuscripts. 300. And it's the odd place in the run of it. So I went right back to my original manuscript
yeah.
and started again, basically. And
Oh, I think you have to do that. I tried at the very beginning when I started doing this. I thought, let me let it write a scene or two just to see what it would come up with, and they were okay. But there was like I couldn't mash them up with the rest of the book. And then eventually, I got a few weeks into it, and I said, this is not going to work. I mean, it's good for background research. So if I wanted to tell me to sort of recreate,
yeah,
Alexandria in year 3000 BC or whatever the year it was, actually does a pretty good job of describing it. But then I'll just take that and use that as background material for
yeah,
everything else.
that's what I've done. Just describe the Mousillon to me, or
Yeah,
what the harbour would have looked like, and
yeah.
um and and then I've just written it myself from like you would from any research. So I found it really useful. Yeah, but it was interesting. So it's now got very strict instructions. You do not rewrite anything without my permission.
I know sometimes you really gotta whip it into shape. It's
Yeah.
really good. It really goes off on tangents. It's crazy.
And I've asked it to be critical as well, because it's like, oh, this is amazing. You're
Yes,
getting
stop that.
better every time. This is the best Gene Keys Substack you've ever written. Yes, I thought you said that last week. And then he said to me about 2, 3 weeks ago, he said, that made me smile. So my response was, I thought you were a machine.
Oh, man. So is that your full-time thing now? You're finishing
So I'm
writing your
writing,
novels?
yeah,
Excellent.
writing full time now.
So what are you doing on your Substack? Are you just posting fiction, or are you also doing
No,
other things?
I mean, my Substack's all over the place, really.
Oh, the best kind. The best
It just
kind.
one goes. I joined Substack purely to market my book. I mean,
Mm,
I was told Substack was a good place to be, and have I marketed my book through stuff that a bit, but actually it's probably at the bottom of the pile, really. You know, hopefully people will find my book through osmosis with my writing. I
But
honestly,
being on Substack is fun though, isn't it? I mean, I
yeah.
I I find it is super fun.
I mean, I do quotes from the book periodically, and I've done articles leading up to the launch, and I actually did the launch here on Substack,
Nice.
um, which was fun. Um, but yeah, I mean, I've studied the Gene Keys for years, so I thought, well, if you get a weekly um, Gene Key, and I thought the way for me to learn it is to write about it.
Mm,
So I do a Gene Keys nearly every week to keep up with that. Um, then I try and do a second post, that can be anything from about writing a book to being estranged from my daughter was a recent one. Grief, dealing with grief, things I've learned about grief. Um, Emotion, dealing with emotions, limited beliefs, so a lot of the stuff that's in Beyond Hot and Crazy.
mm.
I've done things on. Um, and sometimes it's just something completely random.
Well, I gotta
Something's
say
happened
those are the
this
best.
week.
Those are the best kind of Substacks because you never know what you're gonna get. I mean, everyone talks about how you should niche down to this tiny little thing, but human beings are we're multifaceted.
Yeah.
We like to do all sorts of different things and talk about all sorts of different things, especially people who are creative. And, you go off in all sorts of directions, and I think that's where the really interesting stuff lies, is then when you look at all the aspects of being human.
And I mean, I really struggle with a niche. What niche does your book fit into? I don't know. I mean, yes, it's historical in the fact it's based in ancient Egypt, but it's not historic. I always think of historical novels of about like Anne Boleyn or his genuine historical characters is what I typically think of historical fiction.
Yep.
Um, it doesn't fit into that. It doesn't really fit into fantasy or mystical, but it borders on that.
Mm.
You know, book one isn't really got any romantic things in, but romance is coming into book two, so that it falls into the sort of romantasy side of stuff. And it's like,
So it's there you've got no genre. You've got
I,
it
you know, I'm
multi-genre.
feminine literary fiction, and then I suddenly realised that I've got more men pretty much following me than women on Substack anyway. So obviously, what I thought, I've always thought I was a feminine writer, and with Beyond Hot and Crazy, so men should read it as well. And a lot of the book, if you ignore the menopause bit, is relevant to everybody. It's
Mm.
more about living. Um, and men should know anyway for their wives and daughters and stuff. But yeah, and I've talked with on ChatGPT about it. I was calling him Chatty. It Chatty. I kid you, it's a it. It's not a he.
That's right.
About fitting into genres, and it's helped me, pull out where it fits. I know it's a feminine arc. There's a lot of male characters in the book, and so it's a book. I mean, but again, you shouldn't say it's a book for everybody. know?
It's a story.
Um, but I wouldn't say now that it's definitely feminine fiction, which I would have done a few months ago,
Mm. Okay.
because
Well, this has
I
been
can
great.
see it from different points of view now, which I couldn't see.
Excellent.
Um,
Well, sorry, we got to wrap it up. So this has been great. Thank you so much. If someone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way? Through Substack, or do you have other places
Through
to go?
Substack, my website is Pamlob. That's PAMLOB, as in tennis.com. There's a whole load of resources and stuff on there. But yeah, Substack's the best place.
Absolutely. So everybody who's watching, don't forget to subscribe.
Yes, please. And please read the books.
I'm going to check it out right after this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks,
Talk
Chris.
to you soon. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.